This is Barbara Reiss reporting for This Week in East Brunswick. We're very fortunate today to be with two local authors who are going to tell us about how to deal with pet loss. First, we have with us Ken Dolan-Delvecchio, who's author, speaker, family therapist, and a corporate health and wellness executive. Welcome.
Great to be with you.
And we also have Nancy Saxton-Lopez, who's a psychotherapist, behavior health consultant, trainer, and author. Thank you for coming today.
Great, thank you.
Now, you were going to tell us a little bit about an interesting support group that you have available for folks who have recently lost a pet.
Yes, I'm going to start with a little history. I've always loved animals and had them my entire life. And when I got through graduate school, I really wanted to do something for people that were going through a death or a loss, because sometimes others don't understand what that means, and we'll talk about that through this segment, I hope. So I approached Ed Sayers, who was the CEO of St. Hubert's at the time. He said, great. He connected me to Reverend Carolyn Carpenter, who had also approached him. We started the group April 3rd, 1990. It has run ever since. And when Carolyn moved, I contacted Ken, my good friend, and we had met at Morristown Memorial Hospital and worked together. And he was very happy to join me. And so we have continued to do this group. And what happened through the group and our friendship and co-leading was that maybe we should do a book. And that's how the book got started.
And the book takes everything that we've learned in the group and puts it into a small, easy to follow, easy to read package. And the idea is that we're going to answer all the big questions that people have when they've lost a pet. And so we cover things that we've learned in the group meeting. So we cover, is my grief normal? Because people are often so distressed that they're this upset about the loss of a pet. And we cover things like, why does my partner or why do my best friends not feel the same way that I do? And so all kinds of questions, things that range from, what do I say when somebody says something to me that's quite insensitive, like, it was just a cat, get over it, to how do I help my kids through this, to how do I know when it's time to think about getting another pet? And so we try to take what the group delivers and give that to our readers, because we know that not everybody can come and be part of these meetings.
And it was an easy read. I see what you're saying about the format, that for someone who is grieving, it's not a dense piece. It's very easy to review, and you have bullet points at the end of each chapter to review the suggestions that you offer the folks.
The book is put together with grief and the way that it affects human beings in mind, so that we know that when people are grieving, their attention span isn't at their best. We're not able to remember as well as we usually are. And so the information is presented in as brief a text as it can be. As you said, we have reminders, we have points to remember at the end of each chapter. It's all directed towards a person who is going through this experience, even the small size of the book, so it's easy to carry around and have as a reference.
So what advice do we have for someone who has recently lost a pet and seems overwrought and feels, I shouldn't be this upset, it's an animal?
Well, that's what's happened a lot throughout the tenure of doing the group, is people will come in and they almost whisper and they say, I think I'm crazy. And we let them know and validate that they're not crazy, because what they're really grieving is the relationship. It doesn't really have anything to do with how many legs a being has. It really is the relationship. And for a lot of us, those dogs or cats live with us or with us every day. They give us unconditional love. They're loyal and trustworthy, and they get woven into the tapestry of our lives. So when they die, it can be such a tremendous and profound loss for people. So they think they're crazy, but they're not. Well, we normalize and validate their feelings.
And if you think about the way we interact with pets, there's no other relationship that we are so intimately involved with the other for their entire life. It's very much like having an infant, where you have to care for them in a bodily fashion, particularly as your pet gets older and infirm. Sometimes you have to make sure that you give them pills, or even that you put fluids under their skin once a day, or you manipulate their body in some way. And they never learn to speak. They're not like a child who learns to speak and we are then freed to have conversations. It's all about that intimate knowledge of your pet in a nonverbal way. And as Nancy said, they're with us every day of our lives. They see us through good and bad, our triumphs, our challenges, everything.
Now, we could talk about this for some time, but I know for kids particularly, it's a tough topic. And you had listed in the back of the book some children's books and resources. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I think it's important because we as parents or adults are the teachers of how to mourn and grieve. And I think it's really important for folks to get in touch with their grieving, show the grieving, get the books, talk to their kids around it. Now, depending on their age, you know, little kids can kind of regroup in a few minutes and not. But as they get older, they're going to have much more of an understanding. But I also want to make sure that people know about the group at St. Hubert's Gerald in Madison, and it runs on Tuesday evenings, the first Tuesday of the month, and the third Wednesday of the month. And the number is 973-377-7094, and they can get information. I do the group on the first Tuesday, and Ken does it on the third Wednesday. But I want to make sure that that's important, that people get that information.
Sure. And Ken, as we're wrapping up, if someone wants to get a copy of the Pet Loss Companion, how can they do that?
They can go on Amazon, where it's available as a hard copy book, or also on Kindle, and it's available in some area bookstores as well. You can ask your bookstore to order it, and it's available in area libraries as well.
Well, thank you so much for your time today. It's a wonderful resource.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
This is Barbara Reiss reporting for This Week in East Brunswick. Thank you for joining us.